Hello, hello, and welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of Spring Invite here in Leuven, Belgium. Some more Pool C action coming your way with Revolutionair from France facing off against Bora from Germany. This match to decide who will finish last in Pool C. Neither of these teams can qualify for the quarterfinals, but there's potential for it to be a great game nonetheless. We've seen Bora on stream already today as they lost to Terrible Monkeys. Revolutionaire also lost their game to Terrible Monkeys earlier today. And both teams also lost to Gentle. So Gentle and Terrible Monkeys go through in this pool, but this game to decide who finishes third, who finishes fourth. And potential for a bit of a spicy matchup. I think these two teams are both reasonably well matched. So yeah, Luke Burgess here with Francis. How's your day been so far, Francis?
So far, quite good. Got some good games coming out on the stream. Little technical hiccup in the last one in the showcase game, but all is well. Spirits are high, and the Frisbee is great. And there's almost a ray of sunshine in Leuven.
We had some earlier this morning. It's quite nice. So, opening pull goes up from Bora. Now let's see what Revolutionaire can do on offense. Big deep shot to start things off. It's hanging, defender underneath it. Gets the better. Weiricht with the block. Don't know how to pronounce any German words. Sorry about that. But Borah, early break opportunity. They shoot deep themselves, but the disc goes straight out of the sideline. And Revolutionaire will get the disc back with less than 10 meters to go to the end zone. So Walsh fielding the disc for Revolutionaire as they stack vertically at the back of the end zone. No options upfield just yet. Go backwards and around. Just working it nicely around the back. Walsh once again. Pops it off. Looks for the return pass. It's good defense outside the end zone from Bora, and a huge layout block. Schultz gets himself a stat.
So far, Revo haven't really demonstrated that they're able to work against the pressure that Bora's putting on them. They've been taking some easy resets, but I think that they need to turn a little bit more with their legs and take some easy shots just to open up the field.
So Weiricht pops the disc. Kjok. Back to Schultz as a pick is called in the center of the pitch. Some discussion about positioning. Both teams are ready. Disc is checked back in. Nice upline give go. But Bora do go back. Schultz in the center. Goes far side. Back end over the top. Runing goes in field. But there is a stoppage on field. Yep.
Looks like there was a collision between the two players. Number 86, Killian Walsh calling a foul.
Seems to be able to carry on though. So discus check back in. Back to Scrooge. Wide swing to Rich. We're having to work very hard to maintain possession. We keep getting on the sideline and having to work back in, but that shot to the end zone is good. And Bora open up proceedings. Here comes the break rocket. There we go.
A lot of teams taking that run-along rocket. Brings a little fun to the break celebrations. So Revo, a team out of Paris. They're one of the older teams. The current project that they have is from a coach of my current club, former coach of my current club. The goal being to bring them back into First Division. They've been stuck in N2 for a number of years right now, and the idea is, especially for their open team, to develop a sort of core that they can build around to bring them back into the First Division.
Yeah, I was speaking to Revolutionair just before this game, and yeah, their ambitions for the season really are to qualify for Division 1. They have to beat some quality teams to do it. As they demonstrate their motion offense for us. Everyone nice and spread out. Trying to keep that disc moving, but pit cold in the middle as a few Revolutionaire players just cross paths a little bit too close. Not staying quite as spread out as they'd like to be. Disc is a little bit isolated on the far side. Turnover for Revolutionaire. Borah, chance to break again. And Hess just trying to keep the disc moving quickly, which is something we love to see, but not enough composure, not enough balance on that release, and just gifts the disc back to Revolutionaire. Shake now, centering pass is blocked. Walsh can bring it in, and immediate shot to the end zone. Trumpet bringing it down for Bora. And go 2-0 up to start this game.
So, Luke, another thing I think for this tournament for Revo is they're going to have to realize that maybe these teams are going to out-athletic them. Maybe these teams are going to be slightly more technical than them, but they need to build an offensive rhythm. And whether they score points or not, in my opinion, is less important than being able to have a game plan and execute that. For the moment being, it seems that Bora is just too close on their cuts, and Leuven just needs to fake and move to a different spot of the field when they're searching for those options.
Yeah, from a development point of view, it's not so much the result of each point that matters, but rather the way in which the point pans out. And if they can keep the disc moving and show some threats, then from a coaching point of view, that's fantastic to see. But as you say, Bora able to out-athlete them. And that's the second deep shot that comes down Bora's way.
That's Nicolas Bourdin. People call him Frenchie, but he's really a central focus of the Revo offense. He's got good disc skills, and he works pretty well with their sort of throw-and-go movement that they're trying to develop. A little over-ambitious.
There's a run-through block for Revo. Schlatti with the block. He will walk away from the disc and then walk back to it. So Hex set up on the sideline, equal number of players in front and behind the disc. Fakes in field. After it, old Duke does find the option. Now Revo off to the races. Nice high grab. Immediately turns downfield though. And there's high floaty disc into the end zone, but Schlutz was there. Slightly too ambitious shot. After such good movement off at the start. Deep shot from Borah now. Nicely run down. Dees with the grab for Borah. Opts to go backwards. And a miscommunication. And the Revolutionair will get another chance on offense, and they choose to call a timeout. So, recognizing how important it is to put a point on the board at this stage. Don't want to rush it. And they'll take some time to compose themselves.
Frenchie doing a good job redeeming his turns on that point. Just stepping in that lane, getting a little poach block.
Let's take another look at this deep shot. Didn't look like a horrible option when it came out the hands, but it really wasn't.
Excellent kick from the defense.
Yeah, that's the highlight of that play, for sure.
Leonardo Lozano with the D right there. Now for Bora, I think from a defensive perspective, they're defending the hex, motion, whatever you want to call it. I think that they need to stop that pass into the center. That little outlet pass opens up a lot of space, especially if you're only keyed in on match defense. Or they can throw up another few people in the lane. There's a lot of inactive players in that hex setup, especially from a stop disc.
Well, they look inactive to start with, but if it's the person in the middle that's moving, then everyone else, the job of everyone else is to stand still and let that pass go and then move off of that. But yeah, as you say, a lot of teams that play hex fall into this trap of being very predictable off of a static disc and just trying to look into the middle, when actually the whole point of the hex is you've got at least 3 options immediately connected to the disc that you can throw to, if not more with things like crossfield hammers. But looks like a horizontal stack to start this play, which isn't a terrible choice. Playing hex in this area of the field can feel a bit risky with more players in the end zone than you would typically see on a host stack type offense. They do find the first upfield pass. Still on the sideline though. Bora putting on a lot of pressure. But working it down that far side nicely. And there's the tip into the end zone. Munoz with the score. And Revolutionair get their first point on the board.
Leuven got kind of lucky. The set play, in my mind, did not go off as they would have liked. That cutter ran very close to the disc. Throw had a good moment of creativity throwing it around the defense to get to the sideline. But not going to call it luck just yet.
Well, Borah failed to clamp down on defense and just let Revo flow down that far sideline. So perhaps Revo got lucky, but Borah also left the door open for them. Decent pull from Revo. And host stack from Borah. Saw them playing both host stack and vert stack earlier today. High forehand over the top is collected. Immediate inwards turn, realizing there's no players downfield to throw to after that lead pass. Bora swing it to this near side nicely now. Looks off the initial deep shot, takes the second, and by that point, the defender was well aware of what was going on. Casarotto with the block.
I think we saw in the previous game that Bora's a little, what's the word they're a little vulnerable to teams that are slightly quicker than them. That terrible Monkeys game, a lot of the hucks that Monkeys were running down were off of low, zippy throws.
Nice high release lefty break. Good movement through the middle. And a nice find in the end zone. Ackerman with the score. And really that turnover, again, came from, as you were saying earlier, the predictable nature of Revo trying to look for that first throw into the middle of the hexagon shape. Bora clamped down on it, forced a bit of an overthrow, and despite the layout attempt,
Simon Guillaume tops with a nice bid right there in the lane, putting a little pressure on the thrower. Maybe the next time he'll fake that one instead of throwing it up into the center.
So dominant start from Borah. These two teams have never played each other before. It's their first match. And Borah got to be feeling pretty confident with how it started, but a long way to go. Deep shot from Revolutionair to open up their possession. And what a grab to reel that one in despite the defensive pressure. But the defense is now set. Revolutionair looking a bit static outside the end zone, and Guang Piao not able to find any options. So promising start to the offense, but they weren't able to convert the break quickly enough after catching that short field huck. Now Borah's just going to send it right back the other way. And
kind of a cynical foul right there. I really hope that the Borah player is all right.
Yeah, Wooning is on the ground for Borah. Kung Piao just not watching where the receiver is at all, just looking at the disc. Runs straight into Wooning. I'm not sure what the discussion's about. It's not really any world in which this is not a foul. Let's look at the replay again, but yeah, see, Kung Piao is just not even interested in where the receiver is.
I think that's Brunson, is that right? 86?
Isn't it 96? Oh, it was 86, you're quite right. Brunson taking the injury sub, and for some reason the disc is going back.
So contested foul.
Yeah, Kung Piao doing some phenomenal diplomacy there to get the disc sent back.
Discussion again about where the position should be. I think that the cutter should be much closer to the disc right
way
there.
Way closer, yeah. Yeah. Now they're in a good spot to cut deep though, after that lead pass. But instead, someone else cut deep. In fact, it's Lozano with the score for Borah. So It took them 2 tries, but they eventually complete the deep shot.
Lozano looks like he's a pretty good athlete for those targets. He's thrown his body around a couple times on the field here today. And look at that leading pass from Borah.
Yeah, really nice timing. And let's cut to the end zone as well. And the thrower did enough to get the disc out in front.
Great work from the handler to recognize that he had all that space in front of the disc. The thrower can just put it out to him on a platter. And it gives him a lot of separation from the mark to just wind up and hit Lozano right there in the end zone.
So inside backhand break finds the middle of the hex. And there's a lot of catching and immediately turning and looking downfield, which is not really how this offense is meant to be played. Okay, another shot to the end zone. This one just overthrown ever so slightly.
Gazzarotto not able to get a hand on that one. I think if he had bid a little bit straighter, he could have touched it. Don't know if he could have caught it, but with better form, he can definitely get to that disc.
Yeah, it looked like a good throw coming out the hand, but just went too far in front. I think he was trying to catch it with his left hand when really a right-handed flat layout was what was needed. Even so, it would have been a sensational grab. So Hostak once again from Borah. Just running these cuts hard. Asking Revolutionair whether or not they can keep up. Swing to the near side. Trumpet and a huge layout block.
I can feel that one in my bones.
Gulentops with the block. And potentially the bookends. Yes, it is. Reels it in. Gulentop. Massive layout block. And a nice catch at the back of the end zone to boot. So, Revolutionaire still in this game. 4-2. Long way to go. They got some fight in them. They're not just going to let Bora run them over.
Get another look at that block. Excellent D.
Yeah, receiver slowed down. Thought he was wide open. Guntop had other ideas. There's the catch at the back of the end zone.
It's like Quentin Walsh with the throw right there for the goal.
Brave catch with the pull. It's pretty low. The disc is still quite slippy. It's not raining quite as much as it was earlier, but clap catches are still not as free as they usually are. Bora working the disc around the back. Shoots.
Number 96, Johannes Vunning has been free at this entire point. He's just waiting for his moment, I guess, to get the disc.
Sluch is only really interested in throwing into one player. Oh, there's a second. Lozano. Sluch once again. Van Schmidt. Lozano. Oh, a big grab from Sluch. Saves possession for Bora. On the end zone line now. Fakes the IO break without the disc in his hands and then throws away on the break side. Unfortunate for Bora. But great defense of Revolutionaire. They made them work for that. And they're rewarded with a turnover. Mistake in the end zone. As we see this layout again. The Revolutionair going deep straight away.
It's a floater.
And well read. Chooses not to go for the deep shot, which is a smart choice. Conservation of greatness and all that. Good toe in from Walsh. Goes in field. Revolutionair getting ever closer. It's their first break of the game. And there it is. Nice find through the defenders in the end zone. And Revolutionair bring it within 2.
As you said, Luke, I think that's good defense from Leuven. It looks like they're giving up free passes to Bora, but I think that they're really forcing Think move to their second option. A couple of, here, as we see the turnover right here, the old spin move backhand. Looked like there wasn't really agreement as to where the receiver was going to go. Really just patient offense. I think that Bora look a little tired on defense. They look like they're struggling to keep up with Leuven.
Very low release from Keelan Walsh to find the target in the end zone. Pivoted out for it early as well. You feel like the force should have adjusted and stopped that, but that's a break for Revo, and Bora got to do it on offense. Moving the disc nicely though. Good flow to that far side. Not letting the stall count get to 3. This is perhaps the first time it's reached 3 this whole point. And the block was almost not a block, but in the end, it counts. Green on top. And a block for Bora. Once again, these deep shots from Revolutionair just not getting out in front of the receiver, giving Bora opportunities. And Schreiber will not need much of an invitation to get that block. Comes down with it nice and easily. But Bora trapped on that far sideline. Do find a bailout pass. Holsters the deep shot. Ackman. Schreiber. Gute. Ackman shoots to the end zone.
Good D.
Well, Gruta couldn't reel it in. The shot looked good, but not good enough. So a huge opportunity for Revolutionair to even out the scoreline now. Nice IO break. Start the possession. Quick disc movement. Green top. Finds Bassa. Back to Walsh. Hammer to Goontop. Bassa. Walsh on this near sideline now. Get in. Can't connect to that pass though. Bora call the timeout. So a tense moment in this game as both teams having opportunities to score this point, but we take another look at this grab from Walsh. Secures the catch, but Bora with the disc now and calling this timeout, presumably because they're starting to feel the pressure from Revolutionair. Maybe they got lulled into a false sense of security by the previous breaks that they got to start this game. But Revolutionair have stepped up these last few points.
The level. Yeah, I think the way Revo have adjusted pretty nicely after the first few points. Looked like Bora was going to run away with it, but I'm glad that Revo have decided to tighten the screws. They're really, I don't want to say they're playing above their level, but they're playing above the level that they demonstrated in the early phase of the game.
Yeah, they've stepped up for sure. They're getting blocks on defense, and not just from unforced errors. They are earning the disc back. They've been tight on the deep cuts. They've been reading the unders, getting their bodies in the way. So a bit of a switch up from Bora, going for the vert stack instead. Revolutionair do surround it. Bit of a poach off of the reset handler. I typically don't like the poach on the reset handler if you're playing a surrounding setup. You have to trust the downfield defenders to take everything away, and then trust the reset defender to take away the reset. But Bora go deep, looking for Ackerman in the end zone. 1v2, and he comes down with it. Huge play from Bora. Ackerman will be happy with that. And despite Revolutionair's best efforts, Bora get their 5th on the board.
Ackerman really saved his team right there. I don't think that that's the deep shot that they're looking for. They did a good job of immediately punching through the clam defense. I think that in previous games we've been seeing that people are really going into the teeth of that defense, but it seemed like Bora didn't have a problem breaking around right there. But the deep shot that came after, there was a double team on that receiver, on Ackerman. He was able to read it better. He just did his teammate a solid right there.
Yeah, a bit of a trust shot from Bora here, but not a huge window to bring that disc down in.
Walsh got his fingernails on that disc.
So it looks like Revolutionaire going to have to find another gear if they're to pull ahead in this game, but all starts with an offensive hold. Just about finding the gaps between the defense. I think Bora knew what was coming there, but couldn't get in the way early enough. So they flow down the sideline. And a miscommunication error on the infield reset. That's not what Revolutionaire need. They're looking so good. Bora goes deep straight away, looking for the clutch. But too much edge on that disc. We'll give it straight back to Revolutionaire.
Revo seemed like they temporarily abandoned the hex in favor of horizontal. It looks like they're trying to work it in flow down that sideline. It's really struggling with their resets, though. They can't really move it from one side to the other. Their motion is mostly from cutter to cutter.
Yeah, a lot of teams that play hex do like to start with some kind of stack and do the typical static disc set play type stuff, and then from there just spread out into a vague hexagon shape and play with the motion principles of hex. But yeah, a lot of the time when we see these Revolutionaire cutters get the disc, they immediately turn and look downfield, which is not something we typically see from teams playing hex. Typically, you want to be throwing in the direction that you catch. So if you catch the disc facing your own end zone, you should look for one of those handlers. And if none of them are on, then by all means, turn and look downfield. But Revolutionaire are turning and looking downfield straight away, as contested foul is the resolution of that call. So the disc will go back.
I'd like to see a clear play from Revo to get the disc back in the center. There we go.
Yep, just throw it to the open player. Why not? And continue to this near side. Kong Piao looking for options. Floats it to the far side, and second effort catch has not come down. Quick backhand pop into the end zone by Schlutz. And that was all too easy for Bora.
Lozano once again the target for that shot.
There's the break rocket. That was a good one. Almost went over the fence. Yeah, Revolutionair just not giving themselves easy options to throw to. The swing to this near side was good initially, but then nothing was there to follow it up. And as you can see, once the defense clamps down, that front corner of the end zone space is not ideal. Pretty tricky to play out of. If you're going to throw your teammates into unfavorable field positions, you really need a plan to get the disc out of that situation and back to the middle as soon as possible.
Yeah, it seems like they lack structure in their reset system. When I've played them in the past, that's where my teams have keyed in on. Getting Leuven into an unfavorable position usually involves getting them onto the line, and their resets struggle a little bit to reset the disc. The cutter motion is looking very good in this game. Now they just need to find a solution to the handler.
Yeah, what happens when the disc stops flowing? But as a pick is called, Revo are having a little chat on this near sideline out of frame. So perhaps some adjustments to their resets will come and we'll see some more success later this game. But for now, they have to put this point in. None of the handlers moving, just looking for that throw to space. Nicely done. Walsh finds the inside shot, but just pops out of the hands of Perrin.
Borah looked like he was looking downfield before he even had that in his hands.
Yeah, just a little lapse in focus. That's all it takes with the slippery disc. These wet conditions. Wow, the long arms of Brinkschneider. Saved possession for Bora, but they couldn't maintain it. Revolutionair, short field to work with. 1v1 in the end zone. Really feel like that 1v1 should have been thrown to, but instead they go backwards. Didn't give the thrower an awful lot of space.
Luke, I think this is what we've just been talking about, that they're not really giving enough space for the thrower. There's a lot of crowding in the handler slot.
Good reaction from Smith, though, to get that block.
That's an excellent D.
So reset into the middle for Bora. Goes back to Schreiber. Grüter, across to the far side. Schmidt. Ackermann. Brinkschneider. Just checking the disc.
Looks like they're going to switch it out.
Yeah, Schreiber not happy with the state of the disc after the catch. I feel like you're not supposed to stop play to replace the disc. You can replace it during a stoppage, but unless it's actually broken. Supposed to keep playing with it, but play is back underway. Nice IO break. It's going field, and Ackermann collects the pass in the end zone for the score. And I have to say, looks like Bora are running away with it.
Yeah, after a brief comeback from Revo, looks like everything is coming up Bora. We've just heard halftime announced at 8. Cap after this point. Let's see if Coach Franqui's advice can translate into the Revo offense right here.
Offense.
I mean, no matter the result of this game, it's a great opportunity for Revo to practice playing against some quality opposition.
Should be noted also that this is a tournament sandwiched between 2 French championships last week. The final phase of the French Mixed Championship, and next week is the beginning of their first phase, well, and of the first division's first Open Championship. So they've got 3 hard weekends.
Nicely done from Bravo, though. Walsh throwing the disc up.
That's Frenchie right there. Bourdin.
Bourdin, indeed, on the other end of it. And really the key there was that at no point did they need to throw a reset pass. So, not needing to show the weakness of their offense so far, just work it down the sideline and bang it into the end zone. If only all of their offense points could look like that.
Alas, sometimes we are condemned to throw resets. It's good separation. It's a good floaty pass right into space. Bourdin has a lot of space in the back there.
Yeah, nice cut, nice throw.
I'd like to see Leuven come out with a little bit of junk or a zone maybe. Try and test the Bora throwers.
As a wise player once said, you should never lose a game without playing zone. In these conditions especially. So good work in the reset space from Bora, showing us how it's done. Low throw, but collected nicely. And the follow-up. Hess now on the far side. Goes back in field, and the immediate swing to Schreiber. Bora doing a really great job just keeping the disc moving. High pop to the break side. Shot to the end zone. Is reeled in. Brinkschneider with the score, but the disc might be coming back for a foul call.
On that point, up until Bora got into the end zone, they did a very good job of keeping the middle clear. In the horizontal, that's exactly what you want. The mark had to choose one position, and a lot of times they were able to break it back into the center of the field. It's a lovely pass from Schreiber over the poach right there.
Violation called. So disc is checked in successfully. And a quick pop into the end zone will put the 8th point on the board for Bora. Trampe with the score.
Textbook end zone offense from Bora. And Luke, I'm kind of beginning when we're ever going to see a transition out of this 3-person end zone. It seems like for the past forever, 10 years maybe, this sort of triangle at the front with the front of the stack and the 2 handlers behind the disc have been the go-to offense for end zones.
Yeah, and I feel like by this point, defenses should have come up with some more ideas on how to stop it. Personally, I like just playing 3v4 at the back of the end zone. 2 players on the open side, 1 player on the break side, and then double mark the front of the end zone.
Yeah, that classic clam move is becoming a little more popular. It's harder to set up in transition for sure, but I think that,
yeah,
like you said, it's something that defenses should have adjusted to by this point.
The real advantage that the defense has when playing end zone defense is that there's very little space. Deep cuts are not possible. So you can surround a 4-player stack at the back of the end zone with just 3 players. Even 1 player right at the front of it, then 1 open side, 1 break side. So that pull says out of bounds. Because the real threat is the front of the end zone. And having a 1v1 there it's pretty dangerous, pretty favored for the offense. Especially if the thrower is able to break the mark.
With the development of players, I think across the board, I would say that most throwers are able to hit that break side pretty easily.
And there is the zone from Revo. He called it. Let's see how Bora respond.
Again, this flat wall. You'll see that there's the diamond behind. They're really trying to push the disc away from the center. Want to get it to the sideline. It's not necessarily putting pressure on the handlers. Again, these sorts of zones are sort of tests of patience.
Bora found one throw through the wall, but not able to complete a second, so they will have to reset this. But Ackerman just forgets to catch it, I suppose. It was in his hands and then sort of fell out. But a turnover is a turnover, and Revolutionair get possession. Unfortunate collision, I think.
That is a very lucky break on that. That could have been a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. I don't think there's any malice in movement from either player. It's just one of those unfortunate collisions. Ackerman not quite aware of the momentum of the receiver and where they were, but Revolutionaire forced to reset once again. They do find a bailout option, but no more flow after that. Slightly isolated thrower. They do find an option. Looking into the end zone now. This is looking good from Revo. There's the shot to the end zone. And it is reeled in. Avoids the post as well. Nice catch from Budin. So break to start the first half, second half from Revolutionaire.
They're not down and out yet. I think that Frenchie, he's one of those players that you really want to be firing. And so for him to put the team on his back right there, as we see the replay, Ben Bourdon throws to Nico Bourdin. Nice layout at the back of the end zone right there. I do think that Bora did a good job earlier in the point. Revo came out in their hex, and in that orange zone, sort of on the reverse brick, they had some trouble resetting the disc. They had to throw that crossfield pass. Again, somewhat struggling to find a clear reset space to put the disc into.
Yeah, it's not the easiest reset throw. I mean, that shot across field into the far side of the pitch is like, there's often someone there to catch it, but I'd like to see some more high percentage reset options. Nice scuba over the top to potentially break the zone. Yep, there it is. Maintaining that momentum, but now they come to a complete stop and the zone is reset, so Bora got to do it again.
Nice little no pivot backhand. It's one of my favorite throws.
So Borah having to go backwards now, and the no-look backhand. No pivot's one thing, but no pivot, no look is another. And shot straight to the end zone is too far. It's rushed throw from Revo.
I think they should still be pretty happy with that. You gotta attack early, especially when you're on a D line and you're down. Be aggressive.
A great movement from Borah. It's dribbling down that far side. Can't find anything in the end zone though. This is great recovery defense from Revolutionair. Really stifling all the options, forcing Borah to work it around the back. I think Borah thought they were going to just score immediately, but now they're having to really set up their end zone offense. Revolutionaire have clamped down. Trapped on that far sideline. And potentially an offensive throwing foul.
Like, it looks like Cher Falendier got a little piece of the thrower. Oh, or there's a contest. Perhaps a fast count. To all you players out there, please use hand signals for your teammates and for the commentators.
Schlewitz goes over the top into the end zone and finds the target. Riedrich on the other end of it. Revolutionaire's off defense was looking so good up until that point. To some extent, they can't complain. That was a bailout hammer option, but
it's a bailout hammer down the live side. I think that's about the best that you can hope for. If that's a backhand, it might even get a hand on that. It's a very sharp throw for sure.
The unfortunate thing for Revo is that they need blocks. Good end zone defense is all well and good, but we're sort of past the point where they can just have hope for good defense. They need blocks. Good grab under pressure from Walsh and looks immediately to the end zone. And it's well weighted, good rundown.
Frenchie doing it again.
And once again, we see that Revolutionaire's offense looks excellent when it can just flow. As soon as they get stuck, Borah have been causing them some serious problems, but when they can just run their offense, as we see the hammer from the previous point again. Yeah, Revo looking really good when they can just play how they want, but as soon as Borah causes them any problems, it's a whole different game.
I'm not sure how Frenchie set up his cut on that point. I think that they've sort of spotted him as a handler, and maybe he sort of hung back on the break side before gunning downfield. Whatever it is, he's getting open deep a little too often for my taste. I think that Borah's got some big athletes. They should be able to catch up on those deep shots.
Yeah, maybe a change of matchup is required, or some more heads-up play from the deepest defenders, but Borah still maintaining a healthy lead, 3 points up, receiving the pull. And a bricked pull at that. Revo going with zone once again. Nice find through the middle. There's hammer to the end zone. Defender underneath it does enough. And that's a bit more like it for Revolutionaire. Their zone looked broken, but I think there was just enough coverage on all of the defenders downfield that Borah thought they could take a spicy shot to the end zone, and defense was on top of it.
A little too enthusiastic with the hammer. I think that, especially when you break the zone like that, you get 4 or 5 passes behind the wall, quick succession. Maybe a moment to take a breather, see what else you've got.
Maybe a bit too zippy of a pass there. Gifts the disc back to Borah, who immediately convert. Ben caught with the score for Borah's 10th.
We see a replay of Bourdon in space. Casual grab right there, close to the back line. Frenchie really a great player to play against. He gives everything that he has, but he always remains positive. He's always happy to high five. Boa just managed to capitalize in transition right there on that previous point.
So Revolutionair showed some moments of brilliance on offense in recent points. Let's see if they can do it again. Deep shot is holstered. As Revolutionair forced to go backwards. Been doing too bad on their reset so far, but this is the first time on the sideline, but Disc might be going back for a call.
Wobbly throw right there.
Just trying to listen into what the players are saying, not sure what the call's about. A bit of a miscommunication error. Disc goes behind Walsh. So Borah get it back once again. Schmidt finds the gap. Once again, Borah happy to keep it moving. Those two Revolutionaire players run into each other.
Golden and Rambourg look like they're unaffected by the play, fortunately.
And
it's a cheap little hand block right there.
It's a hand block.
That was a 1 cent hand block.
Guto was just unaware of the presence of the defender, I suppose. And Revolutionaire somehow get the disc back. So hard cutting in the middle of the hex. Now they look deep, but that's asking a bit too much of Remborg. Ackerman now for Borah. Finds Gutier. Back to Ackerman. Good keep go move. High disc reeled in by Hess. Pick called downfield.
Pick called downfield. Walsh really bringing the lumber on this mark. I'm pretty sure that Hissa could call a foul or a contact with no problems right here. I guess he's content to play with it. He's a longer player, so it'll be easier for him to reach around and break the mark.
Yeah, especially if the mark's super close. If you're getting a lot of contact on the mark, you can often just sort of step through it, and as long as your wrist flick is good, you can usually get a decent throw off to the break side. Often much harder to break tight marks, much easier to break tight marks than it is marks that are looser and very active. Hess goes to the far side. Is brought down with Schrober. Schultz now. Schmidt. Good give-go move. But Revu are on top of it. Hammer to the back of the end zone. Is brought down. And confident offense from Bora.
Here we see this hand block again. I'm not even totally sure that Bulldon didn't have his hand in the disc on the disc with when the Bora thrower.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a foul, right?
Yeah.
Like, surely a foul call was available there, but good spirit to accept the hand block.
Good control on the catch right there too. Make sure to jump up.
Get up early, get two hands to it.
Good fundamentals from Bora.
Disc is immediately out of bounds. No doubt.
Some discussion about where the disc is coming in. Looks like about midfield.
Right in front of our cameras. They do find an early reset, but go back to the sideline. I'd like to see them get the disc off the line quickly. And they do. Quick backhand pop to find Walsh. Pick called. Again, the spacing of this Revolutionaire offense has been a little bit off throughout this game. Shouldn't really be seeing pick calls like this. Players just getting a bit too close. So Grun top finds Walsh. Continuing down that far sideline. Walsh again. Finds the other Walsh in the front of the end zone. Good footwork, good movement.
Seemed like Bora just kind of gave up on that point. I don't want to say that they were being lazy, but it seemed like they were definitely a half step behind where they seemed less keyed in as to where the disc was. You know, for a team that has put up a lot of blocks, they're playing awfully loose on these handlers around the red zone.
Yeah, just a bit of a drop off in intensity as you may expect towards the end of a game that you've almost certainly won. But they still have 4 more points to put on the board, unless the time beats them to it. No, a 4-point gap is not insurmountable outdoors. You know, we're not playing 20-minute indoor games here. We're playing 70-minute outdoors. And all it takes is a few mistakes.
There's one.
Such as that. And if Revolutionaire punch this in and then we see something similar in the next few points, then it could get a little bit scary for Borah. They might have to refine some intensity. I was a bit worried that there would be a miscommunication error there, but Revolutionaire maintain possession. Find the upline pass. High forehand goes too high for Walsh.
Bulldon seemed too excited to throw that inside. It was too good to be true.
Yeah, bit of a cheap turnover really for Revolutionaire after working it so nicely. And Borah now have another chance to refocus on offense. Just working it around the back. This just pops out of the hands of Fernkorn. Walsh picks up. Revolutionaire trying to find something in the middle. Stall out is called.
Excellent reset D from Bora. They've really clamped down on this point.
Yeah, Revolutionaire had nothing, but
that lapse in focus that I talked about on one of the previous points does not seem to be the case for this.
no, they've made 2 mistakes already. On offense at this point, so I think maybe they're a bit annoyed with themselves. Feel like this point should have been theirs already, but want to get the disc back. So I guess contested stall out is the call. This will come back in on 8. Immediate break side backhand from Walsh.
Walsh to Walsh.
Yep, finds Walsh in the end zone, and as we said before, all it takes is one little mistake from Borah, and Revolutionaire start closing the gap, and if Borah don't step up the intensity, next thing you know, the game could be even. Still a 3-point buffer for Borah, but the last 2 points have not been particularly inspiring. Perhaps giving Revolutionaire a window back into this game.
The Bora set plays have definitely looked like they've given into the weather, at least on that point. I like the initial break that they threw, but then the huck that they threw behind that one, just sailing out of bounds, out of the reach of the receiver. Near drop pull right there.
Yeah, I guess he didn't touch it, but risky to try and make contact with the disc that early. Deep shot from Borah now. Looking for a receiver wide open in the end zone. Disse brings it down, no problem. Well,
Nick Schultz has been putting up a lot of throws like that. Not all of them have worked out, but that's a really nice, especially off of a set play like that. It's a really nice put. Little bladey backhand going down the sideline.
yeah, great cut, great throw. There's never in any doubt, really. So just as we were thinking Revolutionaire might be getting allowed back into this game, Bora have other ideas.
Got a young'un learning how to spike the disc.
Got to start them early, you know?
When you get to the end zone, act like you've been there. And every time that I'm there, I spike it.
So Revolutionaire's turn to play some offense. Big defensive pressure, but Revolutionaire maintain possession. Back to Walsh. Compiao. Borah.
Force middle out of Bora.
Perrin. Compiao.
Now they've decided to switch it simply forehand.
Stuck on this sideline though. Borah having to go a bit of a spicy option to Walsh, but he brings it down. Borah now. A collision in the end zone will halt proceedings. Hopefully neither player is hurt too badly, but
looks like we're in for a short stoppage or a medium stoppage. Oh, that collision does not look like it felt good. Both players just getting their legs tangled up.
Hopefully they're both okay.
Revo, I think going into this weekend, they really have to solve their reset woes. See another tight, difficult throw from Baudrillard over to Walsh, who has to make a good play to recover it. Looks like the Revo player is getting up under his own strength. Injury called, which I think was obvious.
Yeah. Looked like he came off better from the collision. He was just lying on the ground to rest and recover more than because he was completely out of action. Bora player, on the other hand, looks a bit worse for wear. Fortunately, you've got medics on site who are right next to the pitch, potentially even watching the game. So good to see both players managing to get up and leave the pitch. Hopefully we'll see them both return later this tournament, if not this game. As we were saying about the resets, that just a few throws ago, that high inside forehand to maintain possession for Revolutionaire was once again just not really what they want. And as much as we can credit Bora's defense, I do think Revolutionair are making it difficult for themselves.
Some discussion about the positioning right here. Little rewind bot happening. Level we're calling Perif, which I believe means their give and go system.
Walsh looking to the front of the end zone, but good defense from Bora. And what vision from Walsh, finding the gap.
Ben Bourdon coming down with the goal right there.
Yeah, Schmidt was aware of the play, aware of the threat, but couldn't quite get his fingertips to the disc. And despite some drama, Revolutionair do hold their offensive point.
Very near D right there from Schmidt.
Shout out to our friends at Desde Línea. Hola a ti, gracias también para nos ver.
Qué bien de veros. And it sounded like we're into the cap right here. Not sure what the game is going to be played to. Revo brick another pull right here.
As we can see from that shot, all players' jerseys are pretty soaking wet. So attempting to dry the disc, but not sure how effective that will be. So Borah trying to make some progress downfield, but working around the back, and the disc pops through the hands of Lozano. But as I was saying, that will happen when the disc is this wet. We need to get two full, solid hands, otherwise the disc will just slide through. Borah once again finding these sketchy bailout reset options. Shooting to the end zone, looking for Kong Piao, can't come down with it. Calls a foul whilst sat on top of the defender.
Looks like Lozano's holding his quad. I hope he's not injured too. Looks like he's all right. Let's get a look at that play. I can see where there's some contact. I think that Lozano got a little piece of Kong Piao on the way down. And it looks like he's not going to contest it. Injury called. Lozano calling an injury. I hope he's okay. Might have come down a little hard right there.
So Revolutionair looking to punch this break in, and they do. A few short passes later.
Simon Guillaume tops, another goal.
So they close the gap to 2, and it will be a game to 13. So, of course, Borah massively favoured still, but it's not completely out of the question that Revolutionair can put 3 in a row. If Borah aren't focused, if they just relax a bit too much on this point, give Revolutionair the disc away, the disc back, and if they punch it in, then I'm going to be a bit worried for Borah.
I think Levo's doing the right thing right here. It's the last game in the pool. you know, you'll have a quarterfinal next, of course, for the bottom 8. But they're stacking their line, putting on Bourdon, they're putting on Baudrillard, they're putting on Fallendiaï, and they're putting on Bourdon again.
Well, they might as well give it all. So the rain continues to come down. Slippery conditions still. Stall count rising, requiring a bailout throw, but Borah do find it.
Walsh is so far away from his offensive player right now.
Deep shot is holstered. As Borah continue to go around the back. They did this last point, and the disc slipped through the hands on one of these swing passes, so have to wonder how long they can maintain this for. Revolutionaire continuing to work hard on defense, trying to stay close downfield, keeping Borah swinging it around the back. Quick disc movement once again for Borah, not letting the stall count rise. Immediate inwards turn, looking for that reset straight away. Much easier to play offense from the middle of the field. And there's the mistake. Bit of a miscommunication on the reset. Revolutionaire with a chance to bring the game within 1. Walsh, immediate break side backhand, finds the target in the end zone.
That's Baudrillard yet again.
As I said just before the start of the point, all it takes is one mistake and potentially Revolutionaire get some momentum back in this game. They still have 2 breaks to get to win though.
Borah looking almost afraid in that point. It looked like they didn't want to push themselves. They didn't really want to take any risks. They threw a lot of short passes. Credit to Revo's defense. They actually managed to clamp down on those resets and pin them on one side of the field. I do like the way what you were talking about, though. When Borah gets to the sideline, they pivot inward to get that disc off of the line very early. And I think that Revo could benefit from that lesson, that once they get to that sideline, they really need to throw off the rhythm of the defense, reset the disc, and get it to the other side of the field.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, Borah are playing how I was expecting Revo to play. Just immediately dumping the disc back, turning inwards, just keeping it moving. Like, you can throw the disc the whole length of the pitch. Yards don't really matter. What matters is keeping the disc moving, you know? So, 1 point in it. Revo still with a lot of work to do if they want to take this game. But it all starts with 1 break at a time, 1 point at a time. Borah are perhaps in their own heads a little bit at this stage of the game. Not playing with the confidence that we saw earlier. And the rain is getting heavier, making offense that little bit harder. Throwing lots of passes is all well and good, but if the disc is slippy, drops become all that much easier. And there's another one, just an errant throw off the hands of Schultz. Revolutionaire, short field to work with, find the inside break, well reeled in. Shot to the end zone, and they've done it, they've brought it to Universe.
Van Bolte qui on tops, it's Universe.
Well, well, well. This is not what we expected earlier. There was a time when it really looked like Borah were just running away with it, like it was a done deal. But Revolutionaire have always stayed just about in it. They were 4 points behind at one point, and now they brought it to Universe. And even though they had to break twice to get here, by the time you get here, anything can happen. This is not a normal, oh, offense is just going to hold kind of point. Again, Borah's still favored. They are going to start on offense. And they've showed time and time again in this game that they are more than capable of just punching it in without too much issue, but Revolutionair have been posing some serious problems these last few points.
I think if Bora do turn it over, I'd like to see a long turnover. Their last two have been in the backfield. Schultz has a big arm. I was expecting him to open it up on that last point.
Absolutely. Huge layout block attempt, got a hand to it, but the receiver still maintains possession. Schultz with the disc now. Goes in field. And now Bora after the races, they're keeping the disc moving, they're gaining yards. Outside the end zone, shot to the end zone now. It's a bit high, and it is brought down. Schreiber with the score for Bora, and heartbreak for Revolutionair. They did so well to bring it back to Universe. From 4 points down to 12 all. They've done a lot to be proud of this game, but at the end of the day, Bora just about get the better of them. And wow, what a game we had in the end.
My final thoughts, I think that both teams should be happy with what they did. Bora should be less happy that they let those breaks trickle out in the end, but Revo should definitely be content bringing it to Universe after being down by so much. We're going to leave you for the quarterfinal, Smashed versus Jet Set. Tune in just a moment.
Yep, see you there. Don't go nowhere, we'll be right back.
ULTI.TV.